Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama.
Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Prabhu, please continue.
Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much for joining and beautiful chanting. We'll continue reading from the Nectarian Ocean of the Holy Name by His Holiness Sachinandana Swami, Chapter 8, The Open Secret, and the second section titled as The Proper Attitude, Meeting in Separation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the incarnation of love of God, taught us how to meet Krishna through strong feelings of separation, vipralamba. This attitude is a prerequisite for coming into contact with Krishna. If we can chant the holy name with such understanding, we will meet Krishna in the Mahamantra. Therefore, as Srila Prabhupada explains, it is the task of the spiritual master to instruct his disciples how to obtain a platform on which they can feel deep longing for Krishna while performing devotional service. This is possible if the devotee, by regularly hearing about Krishna, develops the strong desire to surrender to Krishna's lotus feet. Such a mood is expressed in the prayer of Princess Rukmini. This is the translation of Rukmini's prayers. My dear Krishna, O infallible and most beautiful one, any human being who happens to hear about your transcendental form and pastime immediately absorbs through his ears your name, fame, and qualities. Thus all his material pangs subside, and he fixes your form in his heart. Through such transcendental love for you, he always sees you within himself, and by this process, all his desires are fulfilled. Maharaj continues, if in this world two persons are living in separation, it becomes a sad affair, and tears of despair are shed. However, since Krishna is not a living being of this world, he is not limited by space and time, and therefore appears in the heart of a devotee who feels separation from him. If a devotee just thinks intensely about Krishna, he will manifest. The six Goswamis give a good example of these advanced feelings in separation. Although most of them came from aristocratic families, they accept the dress of simple mendicants and led the renounced life of ascetics in Vrindavan. There, in the holy land of Krishna's appearance, they were writing books about devotional service. Since they were spiritually very advanced, they were constantly diving the waves of the nectarian ocean of the holy name. Srila Prabhupada used their example to explain that this sincere longing for Krishna, causing the devotee even to cry for him, is the price for entering the kingdom of God. Nice. In other words, spiritual life is not an automatic process. It is not like in a big factory where at the end of the assembly line a fully fabricated car comes out. Well, I just want to go back to that paragraph. My mind is still there. It says, it beautifully says, where Srila Prabhupada used this example. What example? Goswami's example, where they were living in Vrindavan, the six Goswamis, and they were very advanced in feeling separation of Krishna. And still they were doing devotional service and writing books. So Prabhupada says, used their example to explain that this sincere longing for Krishna, causing the devotee even to cry for him, is the price for entering the kingdom of God. So there comes a beautiful statement. So we have to, what is the price to enter? We have to cry, right? So crying for Krishna, not for the petty things that we are facing on a day-to-day basis. There's no point in crying on things that we are facing every day. and that's not going to give us anything. Rather, we think, we have to consider, are we crying for Krishna, or are we crying for some material things that we have to face in our life? So better to develop that bhakti towards Krishna, that Krishna, I'm missing you, right? We tell this to the loved ones, I miss you so much. So here's the thing, we start to develop that thing towards Krishna, speaking to Krishna, Krishna, I'm missing you, right? And don't be afraid. Yes, Krishna is going to take us immediately to him. Krishna knows our condition. He also understands our bhava and mood. So he's not going to put you into a situation or a test where we have to be afraid. If I tell Krishna, I miss you, maybe he'll give me moksha tomorrow morning. So don't be worried about that part. He knows our level of bhakti, but that expression is important. And Krishna will reciprocate accordingly. So let's see if we are all crying for Krishna. Let's continue. In other words, spiritual life is not an automatic process. It is not like a big factory where at the end of the assembly line, a fully fabricated car comes out. But if someone seriously tries to serve Krishna, then this longing for Krishna manifests quite naturally, which means almost automatically. The holy name appears out of its own desire on the tongue of a devotee who enthusiastically performs devotional service and whose senses are purified by devotion to Krishna. So it's hand in hand. Doing devotional service and chanting both should go hand in hand. It's not one or the other. That is how we've been taught in our Krishna conscious movement. In one lecture, Srila Prabhupada explained how to cry for Krishna. Beautiful. So Prabhupada's words from this lecture. So we are addressing Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, the energy of the Lord. Oh, the Lord, please accept me. That's all. Please accept me. We have no other prayer. Please accept me. Lord Chaitanya taught that we should simply cry and we shall simply pray for accepting us. That's all. So, this vibration is simply a cry for addressing the Supreme Lord, requesting Him, please accept me, please accept me. In general, as per the Dharma Shastra, in a house one should not cry. Especially women, it is said women should not cry in home. It brings inauspiciousness. The women should be happy in the house so that the house goes well. That does not mean the woman can make the husband cry. No, that's not what I'm saying to say. The house should be in a way that there's no crying things happens. Crying means house is not auspicious. Right? But the whole practice of Krishna consciousness is to cry. This is quite interesting, right? But this cry purifies us and brings auspiciousness within the house, quite opposite to our other cry that we are facing in the world. So that's something that we need to understand, that are we crying for Krishna in bhakti? Sometimes we also cry, the tears comes and we get emotion, but that could be a sentimental thing also. Sometimes we have to be not confused. Looks like I'm in the seventh, eighth Goswami, right? So seventh is Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and the eighth is Lal Gopal Das. So we should not come into that conclusion that we are also into that. We have to be careful not to become a pretender. Anyway, continuing, by commenting on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's own feelings of separation, Srila Prabhupada writes, again, these are Prabhupada words from Chaitanya Charitamrita, those under the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can understand that this mode of worship of the Supreme Lord Krishna in separation is a real worship of the Lord. When the feeling of separation becomes very intense, one attains a stage of meeting Sri Krishna. So-called devotees like the ācāryas cheaply imagine they are meeting Krishna in Vrindavan. Such thinking may be useful, but actually meeting Krishna. Such thinking may be useful, but actually meeting Krishna is possible through the attitude of separation taught by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we are following a certain parampara. So we have to stick on to that parampara's teaching, and this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us. Continuing, although it may seem paradoxical, but if the feelings of separation become very intense, Krishna reveals himself while chanting the holy name. This stage should not be imitated. It develops naturally when a devotee feels that the whole world has become meaningless without Krishna. To express it in Srila Prabhupada's words, again Srila Prabhupada's words, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is sannyasi. He has no necessity. Why is crying for Govinda? He has given up the whole world, became sannyasi. And why is crying for Govinda? These are Prabhupada's words. This is real necessity. Govinda virahena me. Govinda necessity. The necessity is Govinda. And he is not alone. There's again life, again Vrindavana, again gopis, again dancing, again eating, again everything. That is real necessity. So we try to get into many of our unnecessary necessities and mind get blocked or clogged with those necessities to be the important things in our life. But the real necessity, as it said, Govinda Virahename, Govinda's necessity. So we have to bring Govinda as a necessity in our life, then life becomes perfect. If we keep Govinda as an optional one and make everything else as a necessity in our life, our cry will continue for material thing, but not for Krishna. Let's see. Okay. Thank you all very much for joining this morning. We'll continue again. One more note on this particular chapter, and we are finishing this chapter. That will be an autobiographical report, and we'll conclude this chapter tomorrow. Thank you all very much for joining this morning. Remember Krishna. Never forget Krishna. See you all tomorrow, 5 a.m. Central. Hare Krishna.